Yo, what's up guys? How you doing? HyperX here. Welcome back to another Monster Hunter video. And today, a little bit different. I wanted to address a question I've been getting a lot in comments, social media, everything like that. And of course that question is, the title of this video, what happened to weapon workshops? Because of course, in Monster Hunter Rise, when it launched on Switch last year, we got 6 weapons deep. You guys showed the series massive support as you did with World and our previous weapon tutorials for previous Monster Hunter games, which again, I super appreciate. But of course, the series stopped. People then used to ask the question, where do they go? Are you going to finish them? Like, what's happened to them? And then in light of it releasing on PC, Monster Hunter Rise that is, then everyone was like, oh, maybe you're going to finish them finally this time around. And of course, we still haven't done that. And just to kind of address the elephant in the room, we will not be finishing the Weapon Workshop series, but I want to use this video to explain why, kind of talk about the behind the scenes for it, and kind of just sort of touch on a topic that is admittedly a little bit more personal, but I feel like given you guys have shown us incredible support, given that of course the weapon workshops are one of the things that we are known for, I think it's important that you guys understand where I'm coming from and just kind of give you some clarity. So if you guys can spare me a few minutes, I'm going to kind of waffle and sort of explain the history, explain where we got to and the decision behind not continuing them, and more importantly, what we'll be doing, or kind of the idea behind what we'll be doing moving forward. Because, of course, Sunbreak is coming out later on this year. We 100% will be covering the game extensively, as we always do. Monster Hunter is always and will always be an integral part of this channel, and of course, we want to continue to get people into Monster Hunter. We want to continue to help people play the series, and that does, of course, also extend to weapons. So we do still have plans for things to do in Sunbreak. We're just going to change how we've done it. So let me explain. First things first, let's kind of like rewind. Again, I've been playing Monster Hunter since Freedom 2nd. We've been covering the game since Try/3U, and we started doing weapon tutorials all the way back in 3 Ultimate. Admittedly, in 3 Ultimate, they weren't very good. My Monster Hunter knowledge was nowhere near as extensive as it is now. I didn't know all the stuff that I did, but I still created weapon tutorials with the intention of helping people. Of course, that's always been what we've done on this channel. It's like, I enjoy a game, let me make some tutorial content or some helpful content that can help other people enjoy this game. So admittedly, our 3U tutorials were not too great. They're still on the channel. You can go back and watch them if you want. I mean, please don't, because my voiceover was terrible. I was super shy back then. They're just awkward to watch. But if you want to find them, they are on the channel. But of course, we started in 3 Ultimate, and then with every single new Monster Hunter generation, we aim to improve on those. For Ultimate, we did a full suite of tutorials for all the weapons, and people really enjoyed those. Fast forward to Generations, we then looked to up the quality again. Generations was the first time we introduced button prompts on screen. Admittedly, these were done as text as opposed to physical buttons, but people found these really useful. And then of course, fast forward to World, which is ultimately our sort of definitive series. It is the series that I'm sure a lot of you guys, if you're on this channel, you probably discovered us through the weapon workshops for Monster Hunter World. It is a series that a lot of people have said is like the definitive set of weapon tutorials. To be clear, that's not me saying like we make the best tutorials or trying to like blow my own horn or anything like that. It is just one of those things where people will often comment on, say, the quality of them or the kind of work we put in. And of course, we did put an incredible amount of work into that, so I do really appreciate that. But of course, that then set the precedent, because World, of course, were, for us, our best weapon tutorials we have made to date. We worked super hard to make sure we had as much information as possible in them. We tried to make them really easy to follow, even like complex weapons like Charge Blade. We worked really hard to make sure you understood exactly how they worked. We put button prompts on screen, so it was super easy to follow. And of course, that worked out because they are some of our best performing videos. People, again, really appreciated them. People still watch them to this day. So of course, that was fantastic. However, World was of course the first time that I actually experienced burnout. Now, again, this is not a sympathy video. I'm not like, oh, poor me feels, no. Like, none of that. I just want to kind of explain, because prior to that, I'd always been like, burnout's just like, I feel a bit tired. No, this was just a different thing. Like, I just kind of got hit completely because, of course, I've been doing YouTube for quite a long time. It's not just me. We have the team, of course, built the channel with 269, and we've, of course, since expanded. Paradise Central's part of the team, and now Soxy Bear is part of the team as well. But back in World, of course, it was a lot of stuff to juggle, because while Monster Hunter is and always will be an important part of the channel, and we are a Monster Hunter channel, we are also not exclusively a Monster Hunter channel. We cover a wide range of games, and that's because we play a wide range of games. So it's one of those things where trying to produce the Weapon Workshop series alongside everything else was incredibly difficult. To give you some context, most videos, I can turn things around pretty quickly. Like if it's a news video, if Capcom dropped like a Sunbreak trailer right now, I can have that video up in probably an hour, maybe even less than an hour, depending on the contents of that video. So I can turn news videos around very quickly. If it's a slightly longer video, maybe like a list feature, or we're doing say like mix sets or some other kind of guide, then you're looking more like 2-3 hours. But generally speaking, turnaround time for a video, an average video, is 1 to 3 hours, which is fine. A weapon workshop is 20 to 30 hours. Multiply that by 14, that is somewhere between around 300 to 400 hours of work, and that is stuff that is done alongside everything else. If it were just a case of, oh, Monster Hunter's come out, I'm going to do nothing but weapon workshops, that would be fine. But that's not the reality. Of course, YouTube is our job, YouTube is our business. We also work on lots of things that you guys don't necessarily see right now, some projects that, you know, hopefully later on this year you will hear about. But of course, my time is not solely dedicated to just playing Monster Hunter and making Monster Hunter videos. There's other videos, other games, other projects. There are lots of things that we as a team, as a whole, have to do. So for that reason, it is incredibly difficult to produce a Weapon Workshop series alongside the launch of a Monster Hunter game, because not only are we doing weapon tutorials, but we're also doing things like, you know, best armor sets, monster guides, tips for like things you want to know, like all the kind of coverage that you guys appreciate on the channel. That has to be done alongside this incredibly challenging series. Weapon workshops require a ton of research, a ton of scripting, a ton of editing. The cuts and the kind of recording that we have to do is super specific when you think about the way that we edit our videos for weapon workshops. You know, every single permutation of showing you combos from the front and the back. These are all individual things that need to be recorded, which is why they take so long. So it's a hella daunting series. It burnt me out in World, but we got through it, we did it, you guys really appreciated it. And then of course, fast forward to Rise. Now, when it came to Rise, when it came to the planning stages, the team, to be clear, were just like, we shouldn't do weapon workshops. We should think of a better way to do it because it burnt you out last time. It's not going to make sense this time. So despite the fact that they were advising against it, I was still like, no, we're going to go ahead and we're going to make them even better than before. Of course, we worked with GetRec to get the fancy new intro and the sort of, you know, cool graphics made for it. We then worked super hard to, you know, spec them up. It's also worth noting, something that kind of I don't always, you know, comment on as much, but like while we are super fortunate to get the game early, it's also really challenging because when it's early, you can't check with other people. You can't crowdsource information. You have to make sure that you gather all this. So of course the game is, you know, not even out. We're playing through the game, trying to gather as much information as possible, trying to make sure that we get this information correct. The only way we can corroborate that is by going to the training room and testing ourselves. There's no data mines, there's no motion values that we can really sort of like lean on before launch. So it's important because if we put out a series that is like the definitive series for weapon tutorials and we get things wrong, people will hold you accountable for this. So there is an incredible amount of pressure on this. And again, when it came to Rise, we're trying to do this all before launch, learning all these new systems, new Silkbind moves, Wirebug stuff, everything, like all those different changes alongside everything else. It was a lot of stress. So I was already stressed before we even started producing them. And then we started working on them. And again, because they were even better than the World ones, we were just like, this is an incredible amount of work, and that's across the team as well. It's not just myself, everyone's working super hard on them. It's just an incredibly stressful undertaking. And we got about halfway through and I was just like, I just can't do any more of these. Like, I just can't. It's just gonna, like, I'm either gonna burn myself out so much, I'm gonna be in a bad place, or I just need to be like, we're just gonna cut this. So, you know, with the team, we of course discussed, and we agreed to put them on hold, basically stop them for the time being. And the idea behind that now is that we'll work on a better way to do this in the future. We do still, again, want to make sure we continue to support the game, make sure that when it comes to weapons, because of course the weapons are the crux, the kind of, you know, foundation of Monster Hunter, and of course all the different nuanced combos are an incredible part of the gameplay. But it's also fair to say that a lot of the time, the stuff we cover in the weapon workshops, like 90% of it you don't always need. Most people will watch the video, again, super appreciate that, but you don't need to know every single possible move the Charge Blade can do, because you're only going to use a handful of them. What you really want to know is like, what moves do I need to do? What moves will allow me to kill the monster? What moves will give me the most damage? What's like some of the fun moves? And outside of that, you don't really need to know everything. So it is a series that has been massively over-engineered, massively over-scoped, which again, you know, is cool if you guys enjoy like seeing absolutely everything. But for most people, it just isn't necessary. When you think about the Rise ones, some of them were like 20 minutes long, which is cool, but if I can give you that information in like 5 minutes, I'm sure a lot of you guys would appreciate that instead. So basically, that's my long roundabout way of saying that, yes, they were a crazy series to produce. I, again, am massively appreciative of all the support. We all are as a team. but it's not a series in its current form that we intend to continue. Again, fast forward into Sunbreak, and of course, you know, future Monster Hunter titles, whatever comes next, we will still support it. We will still do weapon-focused content, but I really want to try and streamline that in a way that allows us to still help you guys, you know, because our main focus here has always been to help the majority of people. Admittedly, if you're a speedrunner, you're like a top 1%, you don't need our tutorials. You already know how to play the game better than I do, so those videos are not geared towards you, but it's of course geared more so towards people that are just like, hey, I want to get into Monster Hunter. I want to know what I need to know. I want to like not necessarily sit here and like bang my head against the wall trying to work out how to do an SAED and still enjoy the game. So maybe what would be super useful for you guys would be to let us know what stuff you find most useful in those series. If we were to do a massively sort of scoped back series, what would you want? Like, is it the combos, the best combos that you find useful? Is it, say, the armor skills? Is it, you know, like certain combo permutations? Like, I want to know what specifically in the weapon workshops you enjoy the most, so we can of course use that to basically shape what we do in the future. But anyway, that's pretty much it. I appreciate I've already rambled on for probably far too long. I hope you guys understand that. I hope you guys don't mind. I mean, I appreciate there will probably be some disappointment because I know that some of you guys really enjoyed that series. Again, massively appreciate that. But I also do need to sort of like think sensibly, because again, when you're like running the business, there's so many things that we have to make sure we can do collectively as a team. If like I only play Monster Hunter, if I was just solely a Monster Hunter channel and nothing else, I know some of you guys will be like, well, just do that. No, like I love Monster Hunter, but I also love games. I want to do other things as well. If I only play Monster Hunter, then yes, I could of course just do those series, but I don't. We do lots of other things, so we have to make the decisions that make sense for us as a team, both just for like mentally being in a good place, but also being able to kind of continue to put out content that you guys can watch, you can enjoy, and do everything else like that. So yeah, hope that's given you some clarity. At least it'll answer the question, because I know a lot of you guys have been asking it in basically every video we upload. So now you know, but do of course keep it locked because we do still have plenty more stuff planned. And of course with Rise PC out now, I expect Capcom will begin their Sunbreak marketing campaign pretty soon. So of course, as we get more Sunbreak news, I'll be sure to keep you guys posted. And again, we will do some weapon focused content for Sunbreak, but it will just be different. So that's it. Hope it's answered your questions. And as always, thanks for the support. You guys are awesome. And stick around for more.